إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, we return to as-Sirah Nabawiyyah by the Imam Abdul Malik ibn Hisham al-Basri rahimahullah. We have reached Unit 3, Chapter 3, استيلاء أبي كرب تبان أسعد على ملك اليمن وغزوه إلى يثرب. The conquest of Abu Karb Tubban over the kingdom of Yemen and his offensive campaign against Yathrib. Before we start this, I want to mention two things about the previous presentation. In live readings of as-Sirah Nabawiyyah, when you listen to the readings regarding the Shiqq and the Satih, there are portions where they mention in Arabic words of emphasis. And these words in live readings can be read as liyamlikna or liyamlikunna. Either of these are correct. I've heard both in live readings of the text. So this is one of the beneficial things about when you listen to a text read out, is that you can hear the variations, and the teachers explain these variations, liyamlikna or liyamlikunna. Both of these are correct when you read over the interaction that the Shiqq and the Satih had with Rabi ibn Nasr. My reading it in one way rather than the other does not negate the other way in which it could be read, or to state which is better. Rather, it happens to just be a personal preference that I decided to read it in that fashion. So it doesn't have anything to do with what's better, what's not. Sometimes the readers will hear a variation in how a text was read that doesn't change its meaning or alter it, but rather it's just a different variation, but is a permitted way that the text may be read. Further to that, I mentioned that one of the questions to be answered was why Rabi'a ibn Nasr chose to go to Hira or Al-Hira in Iraq, why there and nowhere else. As-Suhaili rahimahullah, who dies 501 Hijri, one of the authorized commentators on as-Sirah Nabawiyyah, mentions the reason for this is because at the time Iran was a strong and regional power, which at this point was Persia, because the name Iran, the country of Persia, was changed to Iran when Reza Shah, the ruler of Iran, attempted to align himself with Nazi ideology in order to ensure that he would be able to keep his throne and that he would be able to get allied with the Germans in the war in Europe in the event that they won, because the wisdom, human wisdom at that point, made him believe that the Nazis would ultimately win in the European war, because he had seen all of old Europe conquered inside of a year. He'd seen the lightning wars, the blitzkriegs that had been had by the Germans, and saw their success and looked on lovingly and thought that the best thing to do would be to align his country. Without having sought permission from the actual population of Iran, he decided to align his country with them. And so he changed the name of his country from Persia or Faris into Iran, which was one of the words for Aryan, and he started to push Nazi ideology. But at this point, thousands of years before then, Persia was a regional power. And the particular power that was had were the Sassanid Iranian rulers, which had a dynasty that they had established, which will come up a little bit later. But the Sassanids had a powerful dynasty that they had created. And in this dynasty that they had created, they set up outposts in parts of Western Asia. And one of those outposts was in Iraq. The reason for this was because King Korosh, wrongly translated as Cyrus, King Korosh the Great of Persia, conquered over the territories that had been taken by Nebuchadnezzar in 597 BC, when he went on his great military campaign from what is today's Iraq. And upon his conquest, upon Korosh the Great's conquest of those areas, he inherited the kingdoms that Nebuchadnezzar had absorbed. And by inheriting those kingdoms, he ruled over them. One of those was Iraq, in specifics, the area Al-Hira or Al-Hira. And Rabi' ibn Nasr had some type of allyship with them and some type of strength base with them. And so he sought to take refuge in the power that he felt would be able to give him the most protection and the most military allegiance. And that at the time was Iran, which was the premier power. The setup of the time back then was the two powers were Iran and Byzantium. And Iran and Byzantium occupied the place in their time period as the United States and the USSR in their time in AD 1980s of the pagan era. So if you studied the period of what's known as the Cold War in English, you'll find that the two powers that were jockeying for a position in geopolitics were the United States, which was seeking to spread its empire and its influence, and the USSR, which covered 11 time zones and was looking to increase its influence through the spread of communist ideology. Well, in this case, Iran was the United States and Byzantium was the USSR. Then we want to answer the second question, which is, how did the Shiqq and the Satih, how were they able to answer Rabi' ibn Nasr his questions regarding the dream? Because Rabi' ibn Nasr hadn't divulged this, and what did they know? We do know that the Shiqq and the Satih were not Muslims because they engaged in magic and all types of dark arts, which we know from the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that those who go to them and those who practice dark arts are guilty of major kufr. So we know that they were not Muslims, and the introduction of the chapter, they are referred to as kahinain, two soothsayers or two people who speak to familiar spirits. And so the source of where they would have been able to gather that data would have been from that. Because Rabi' ibn Nasr, although he didn't speak to his officials, he most likely spoke to his close family about what he saw. And when you're speaking to people around you, it's not just yourself that's listening, but there is a spiritual realm around you that is also listening and taking knowledge. We know this because of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in Surah Qaf, the 50th Surah, ayat 23, in which he says, وَقَالَ قَرِينُهُ هَذَا مَا لَدَيَّ عَتِيدٌ. And so, on that day, the companion Qareen will say, this is that which I possess on this day. It's right here in front of you. Surah Qaf, the 50th Surah, ayat 23. And in the same Surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said in ayat 27, قال قرينه ربنا ما أطغيته ولكن كان في ضلال بعيد. And the Qareen companion will say on that day, our Lord, I have not left anything out from that which I had record of. But in fact, this one that I observed was in clear error and wrongdoing. We then also have a hadith from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Sahih of Bukhari, in which he said, "There is no one of you except that he has a qareen, a companion with him. And that companion advises wrong actions when he does wrong, or good actions, we should do good." And the companion said, "Even you, Messenger of Allah?" To which he said, "Even I, but mine has entered Islam, and he only says wise things and righteous things." So when you believe, when you're talking to one person with you, or two people with you, and you divulge secret speech or secret statements, you believe that no one else is keeping record. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is keeping record, but in addition to that, the recording angels are keeping record. In addition to that, one of those jinn, the qareen, is keeping record. And when they're keeping record, that's a world that some dabble in and engage in. In this case, the Shiqq and the Satih had access to that qareen and that world, and would have been able to gather the data and then tell him the outcome of this. And where would the qareen have gotten the data? Where would he have been able, when he hears Rabi ibn Nasr mention that, where would he have taken the data from? Well, it is because the jinn are at that point listening in and trying to gather data and information about the speech among the malaika that they hear when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered them to dispatch certain commands or ordered them to carry out certain things, and they overhear and listen and grab little snatches and pieces of information away that they can. This is mentioned in Surah Al-Mulk, the 67th surah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has mentioned in ayat 5 and 6. He says, وَلَقَدْ زَيَّنَّا السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيَا بِمَصَابِيحَ وَجَعَلْنَاهَا رُجُومًا لِلشَّيَاطِينِ وَأَعْتَدْنَا لَهُمْ عَذَابَ السَّعِيرِ وَلِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ عَذَابُ جَهَنَّمَ وَبِئْسَ الْمَصِيرِ. We have already adorned the sky, the lowest sky, with lamps as stars. And we have made some of these things that it's been adorned with to be as stones or meteorites that chase the demons away, and we prepared for them a terrible punishment and penalty. For those who reject their Lord, there is the punishment of the great fire, al-Jahannam, and a terrible outcome and homecoming. This is Surah Al-Mulk, the 67th surah, ayat 5 to 6. We also have the particular jinn mentioning how they're taking away details, the shayateen, how they listen and grab pieces of information. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this when they say, وَقَالُوا لَوْ كُنَّا نَسْمَعُ أَوْ نَعْقِلُ مَا كُنَّا فِي أَصْحَابِ السَّعِيرِ. And they said, we did not listen nor reflect on the fact that we would be the companions of the scorching fire to come. Surah Al-Mulk, the 67th surah, ayah 11. Now this goes in line with another surah. And this surah is in Surah Al-Jinn. And in this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about the jinn and their waiting, because these ayat are connected. So in Surah Al-Jinn, the 72nd surah, ayah 9, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَإِنَّا كُنَّا نَقْعُدُ مِنْهَا مَقَاعِدَ لِلسَّمْعِ فَمَنْ يَسْتَمِعِ الْآنَ يَجِدْ لَهُ شِهَابًا رَصَدًا. And we used to sit in places and wait in order to listen to that which was being uttered in the heavenly assembly. But whoever tries to listen now finds a flaming meteorite coming towards him as a watchman to prevent any further listening. This is Surah Al-Jinn, the 72nd Surah, Ayah 9. So we see there's a connection between that which was revealed in Al-Mulk and that which has been given in Al-Jinn. And so this is how the data, they were able to give these answers so quickly, because these answers were the result of a coming event. And this coming event is the coming birth of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which was known to be on the horizon by the righteous and the wicked, the good and the evil, the great and the small. And as we come nearer to that event, you will see. Now, at his birth, which will also be discussed far down the line, at his birth, the power of evil, the power of wickedness in the world was greatly retarded and limited, because his birth signified the end of this current wicked system of things. And with that, there has been a diminishment of the power of shaitan and a diminishment of the evil in the world. But before the end of all things in this wicked system we're in, there will be one last mighty blast of wickedness in which all the forces of unrighteousness and unholiness will put their utmost into the world to cut loose one last time. For them, this is a zero-sum gamble. But for the righteous who pay attention to revelation and pay attention to what's in this Quran and the Sunnah, we know that no gamble ever pays off. And just like with every other time where people gamble, the gamble that evil has on being victorious in one last zero-sum game, they will fail again. So those were the questions that we wanted to cover to try to resolve some of the areas that we left unanswered in our last dars, inshallah. Now I want to move forward for the conquest of Abu Karb Tubban over the kingdom of Yemen and his offensive campaign against Yathrib. The author, Imam Abdul Malik ibn Hisham al-Basri rahimahullah, says, قال ابن إسحاق فلما هلك ربيعة بن نصر رجع ملك اليمن كله إلى حسان بن تبان أسعد بكرب، وتبان أسعد هو تبان الآخر ابن كالككارب ابن الزيد، والزيد هو تبع الأول ابن عمرو ذي الأذعار ابن أبرهة ذي المنار ابن الريش. When the Rabi' ibn Nasr died, the entire kingdom of Yemen passed to Hassan, the son of Abu Karb Tubban As'ad. Abu Karb Tubban As'ad is known as Tubba the Last, and his lineage is Tubban As'ad, the son of Kalki Karib, the son of Zayd, who was the first Tubba, the son of Amr Dhul Adhar, the son of Abraha Dhul Manar, the son of Ar-Raish. Close quote. Now, as a quick point here, the Abraha here, understand Abraha Dhul Manar, this is not Abraha al-Ashram. Abraha al-Ashram is an Abyssinian, but this one here is an Arab from the Yemen. So these are two different people. They do not share any relation. The author goes on to say, quote, قال ابن هشام ويقال الرائش قال ابن إسحاق ابن عدي ابن صيفي ابن سبأ الأصغر ابن كعب كهف الظلم ابن زيد ابن سهل ابن عمرو ابن قيس ابن معاوية ابن جشم ابن عبد الشمس ابن وائل ابن الغوث ابن قطن ابن عريب ابن الزهير ابن أيمن ابن هميساع ابن عرنجج والعرنجج حميار ibn Sabah al-Akbar ibn Ya'rub ibn Yashjub ibn Qahtan. It is said that Ar-Raish is also referred to as Ra'ish, with Ibn Ishaq mentioning that his lineage is as follows. Ar-Ra'ish or Ar-Raish is the son of Adi, the son of Sayfi, the son of Saba the younger, the son of Ka'ab, the assister to oppression, the son of Zayd, the son of Sahal, the son of Amr, the son of Qais, the son of Muawiyah, the son of Jusham, the son of Abdul Shams, the son of Wa'il, the son of Al-Ghawth, the son of Qatan, the son of Arib, the son of Zuhair, the son of Ayman, the son of Hamaysa', the son of Al-Aranjaj. And Al-Aranjaj, his name is Himyar, the son of Saba, the elder, the son of Ya'rub, the son of Yashjub, the son of Qahtan. قال ابن هشام يشجب ابن يعرب ابن قحطان قال ابن إسحاق تبان أسعد أبو كرب الذي قدم المدينة وساق الحبرين من يهود المدينة إلى اليمن وعثر البيت الحرام وكساه وكان ملكه قبل ملك ربيعة بن ناصر قال ابن هشام وهو الذي يقال له. And Yushjab is the son of Ya'rub, the son of Qahtan. It was mentioned by Ibn Ishaq that Tubban Asad Abu Karb is not only the last Tubba, he is the one who arrived at Al-Madinah and was met by two rabbis from the Jews of Al-Madinah that had come to Yemen, the Yemen. Abu Karb Tubban showed respect to the sacred house, the Kaaba, and put a kiswa on it. The rule of Abu Karb was before that of Rabi'a ibn Nasr by some years. The following poetry was said of him. ليت حظي من أبي كرب أن يسد خبره خبلا. How I wish for a longer life of Abu Karb, so that his good could help deflect us from harm. تبان يغضب على أهل المدينة قال ابن إسحاق وكان قد جعل طريقه حين أقبل من المشرق على المدينة وكان قد مر بها في بدأته فلم يهج أهلها وخلف بين أظهرهم ابنا له فقتل غيلة فقدمها وهو مجمع لإخرابها واتصال أهلها وقطع نخلها. When Abu Karb Tubban first came to his rule, he went from the east past Al-Madinah. He did not like its people. He put some of his sons among them to settle affairs. And one of those sons that he put was there in charge, but he was assassinated. Tubban came to the city amidst troops with the intention of laying waste to it, demolishing it, as well as annihilating its people and cutting down all of its trees. وجمع له هذا الحي من قريش ورئيسهم عمرو بن طلة هو بن النجار ثم أحد بن عمرو بن مبذول. A tribe came to him that would later become some of the Ansar. Their leader at the time, his name was Amr, the son of Tallah, the brother of the house of Najjar. Then another man from the Banu Amr ibn Mabdul came out as well. واسم مبذول عامر بن مالك ابن النجار واسم النجار تيم الله بن ثعلبة ابن عمرو بن الخزرج ابن حارثة ابن ثعلبة ابن عمرو ابن عامر. The lineage of Mabdul is Amr, the son of Malik, the son of An-Najjar, and An-Najjar is Taymullah, the son of Tha'laba, the son of Amr, the son of Al-Khazraj, the son of Haritha, the son of Tha'laba, the son of Amr, the son of Amr. عمرو بن طلة وشبهه وقال ابن هشام عمرو بن طلة عمرو بن معاوية بن عمرو بن عامر بن مالك بن النجار وطلة أمه وهي بنت عامر بن زريق ابن عامر ابن عامر بن زريق ابن عبد حارثة ابن مالك ابن غضب ابن جشم ابن الخزرج. Amr bin Tallah's lineage is as follows. Amr is the son of Muawiyah, the son of Amr, the son of Amir, the son of Malik, the son of An-Najjar. Tallah was his mother, who was the daughter of Amir, the son of Zurayq, the son of Amir, the son of Zurayq, the son of Abdul Haritha, the son of Malik, the son of Ghadab, the son of Jusham, the son of Al-Khazraj. Close quote. So understand then, Tubban, Abul Karb, Tubban puts one of his sons in charge of the area. And a dispute results in which that son is killed. He's assassinated. And so he decides to come to lay waste to Al-Madinah. And in the process of this, two people come out to try to defend the city. And this tribe that comes out, they would later become part of the Ansar. Their leader was a man by the name of Amr ibn Tallah. Amr ibn Tallah. And then another man came out to assist him from the Banu Amr. So these two people came out at the head of a troop because they're going to attempt to repel Tubban Abu Karb. Although they're against impossible odds, they're going to attempt to repel this man. So they come out to meet him, and now we're going to look at what the result of this is. Where Imam Abdul Malik ibn Hisham rahimahullah, he says, quote, قصة مقاتلة تبان لأهل المدينة. Now let us look at the incident in which Tubban engaged in battle with the people of Medina. قال ابن إسحاق وقد كان رجل من بني عدي بن النجار يقال له أحمر عاد على الرجال من أصحاب تبع في نزل بهم فقتله، وذلك أنه وجده في غضق له يجده فضربه بمنجله فقتله. Ibn Ishaq mentioned that there was a man from the house of Adi ibn al-Najjar by the name of Ahmar who showed enmity to men from the companions of Tuba'a who came down to them, and Ahmar killed one of the Tuba'a people. The reason this happened is that the man had taken some fruit from the date palm, and Ahmar killed him with a sharpened sickle. وقال إنما التمر لمن أبراه فزاد ذلك تبعا حنقا عليهم، وقال فاقتتلوا فتزعم الأنصار أنهم كانوا يقاتلونه بالنهار ويقرونه بالليل، فيعجبه ذلك منهم ويقول والله إن قومنا لكرام، فبين تبع على ذلك من قتالهم. Ahmar, or someone present at the time of the incident, had said, the only people who picked the fruit from the date palm are those who have harvested it. This increased Tubba people in hatred against the people of Al-Medina, so they began a large war. They fought amongst themselves with a tribe that would later become some of the Ansar, claiming that they were going to fight Tubban in the daytime and then rest in the night. This action from the Ansar amazed Tubban, who exclaimed, by Allah, our people have been shown nobility by this act. So Tubba withdrew from the fighting after that point. Close quote. Now, the reason for then we see this action happening is Ahmar was the one who carried out the assassination because one of the people from the Tubba army had come into the city of Yathrib, which would later become Medina, and he ate from some of the date palms without permission. So Ahmar and the others there said, well, this is theft. No one just eats from the date palm tree except the one that harvested it. So they had their own unique cultural sensitivities, and they looked upon theft as such a serious issue that it led to the death of this man, which was an assassination that was carried out to kill this man. The response to that was that the army was mobilized, and there wound up being fighting between the Tubba people of their army and the people of Yathrib that would later become Al-Medina. The Imam goes on to say, quote, إذا جاءه حبران من أحبار اليهود من بني قريظة وقريظة والنضير والنحام وعمر وهدل بنو خزرج ابن الصريح ابن تومان ابن الصبت ابن يسع ابن سعد ابن لاوي ابن خير ابن النحام ابن تنحور ابن عازر ابن عازر عزرا ابن هارون ابن عمران ابن يصهر ابن قاهط ابن اللاوي ابن يعقوب وهو إسرائيل ابن إسحاق ابن إبراهيم خليل الرحمن صلى الله عليهم. At that time that the battle was continuing, two rabbinical authorities of the Jews came to them, the Tubban people, from the Banu Qurayza. The Banu Qurayza included the Banu Qurayza themselves, Banu Nadir, and Najam, and Amr, who's also called Hudhail. And they're all from the house of Al-Khazraj, the son of Al-Sarih, the son of Al-Tawman, the son of Al-Sibt, the son of Al-Yasa', the son of Sa'ad, the son of Lawi, the son of Khayr, the son of Niham, the son of An-Niham, the son of Tanhum, the son of Tanhum, the son of Azir, who is Izra, the son of Harun, the son of Imran, the son of Yashhar, the son of Yashar, the son of Qahith, the son of Lawi, the son of Yaqub, who is known as Israel, the son of Ishaq, the son of Ibrahim. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon all of them. Now, what this references is the Al-Khazraj here is a different Al-Khazraj from the Aus and Al-Khazraj tribes of Medina from the Arabs. This Al-Khazraj is in reference to Jewish tribes that are from there. So they are not the Arab tribes of Al-Aus and Al-Khazraj. This is a different Al-Khazraj. So he's giving the lineage of where these people came from. Now these people, where they came from, the Banu Qurayza, Banu Nadir, Banu Najam, and the Banu Amr, also known as Hudhail. They all come from a man named Al-Khazraj, who is the son of a Sarih, the son of a Toman, and it goes all the way until you reach Harun, because Harun is the elder brother of Nabiyyuna Musa alayhi salam. And so that's why he mentions Harun all the way up to Yaqub, and Nabiyyuna Yaqub, his laqab or title is Israel. And Nabiyyuna Yaqub alayhi salam is the son of Ishaq, who is a prophet alayhi salam, the son of Nabiyyuna Ibrahim alayhi salam, known as Khalilur Rahman, right? Who is the best friend of the most merciful. Now, with these particular ones, it's clear that this tribe are coming from the household of Nabiyyuna Harun alayhi salam, which means that they're priesthood holders. These particular children of Israel that came are coming after the Second Temple period. Now, this requires a little bit of discussion. When King Nebuchadnezzar swept down from what's today's Iraq or Babylon, taking over most of the Near East, Western Asia, one of the places he laid waste to was where Al-Masjid al-Aqsa rests today in Palestine / Israel. He arrives in 597 BC, lays waste to the place that the children of Israel had been worshiping, and carries a massive body of them away into captivity. This incident is one in which is mentioned in many history books. It happens again in AD 70 under Titus. So the children of Israel that underwent the first exile, those children of Israel, they return a number of centuries later. And some of them were left over in the land, but others that had been carried away from exile return back. They rebuild up the area. And this time when the Romans invade in AD 70, the children of Israel are carried away in an exile that lasts for 2,000 years until a huge ingathering of them comes back to the land in AD 1948 and builds up a government for themselves, which is where we are today. These Banu Qurayza and Nadir and Najam, these are people from the period of the second exile. So these children of Israel have spread out after the second exile and come to Yathrib, what later becomes Al-Medina. While the Jews that were in Yemen are from, some of them are from the first and second exile. So if you do a detailed study, you will often find that Jewish authorities will say that the best Hebrew spoken and the best pronunciation of the Hebrew books is from the Yemeni Jews, because they were cut off from many events that happened after the first exile and other things, and they lived in isolation and were forced to protect their Judaism at all costs, excluded from the rest of world events that were happening around them. But these particular children of Israel, the Banu Qurayza and Nadir and Najam and Amr, were more cosmopolitan, but are also priesthood holders. They're from the Aaronic priesthood, and they are descendants of and from the family of the household of Nabiyyuna Harun alayhi salam. And so these two rabbinical authorities of the Jews come out to them. Now, when it comes to the children of Israel, they have three categories of people: Rabbonim, rabbis; Soferim, scribes; and Tanaim, which are scholars of the particular tradition that they have. And by this time that they're here, the Babylonian Talmud, which is the Jewish commentary on what they refer to as the Torah, is a Jewish commentary on those texts. The Babylonian Talmud has already been put together, and the Palestinian Talmud has already been put together in its earliest recensions. Its final recension will come years after that. But these are people that are authorities. So the Rabbonim, these rabbinical authorities coming out, will be the best of their scholars. So not only do they understand how to write down the Torah, the texts, the scribing, all these other things, they're also leaders in their community. And so two of these rabbinic authorities come out to meet him. So let's go forward. The Imam Abdul Malik ibn Hisham rahimahullah says, quote, عالمان راسخان في العلم حين سمعا بما يريد من أهلاك المدينة وأهلها فقال له أيها الملك لا تفعل فإنك إن أبيت إلا ما تريد حيل بينك وبينها ولم نأمن عليك عاجل العقوبة فقال لهما ولم ذلك. These two rabbinical scholars, deeply rooted in their knowledge, were deeply rooted in their knowledge. When they came to know of the intention that the opposing force had of devastating Al-Madinah and its people, both scholars spoke to the king. They said to Abdul Karb, Dear king, don't do what you intend. Indeed, you cannot do what you will, but there is only between you and the city an affair, and you will not be safe from the swift punishment to come. King Tubban asked, Why would you say that? قال هي مهاجر النبي يخرج من هذا الحرم من قريش في آخر الزمان تكون داره وقراره فتنهى عن ذلك ورأى أن لهما علما وأعجبه ما سمع منهما فانصرف عن المدينة واتبعهما على دينهما. The two scholars remarked, there will be an immigrant, a prophet that will leave from the sacred compound, far from here, of the Quraysh at the end of time. This will be his abode and his dwelling. Then the rest of his affair will remain there. The king looked at them and saw what they were saying and realized they were indeed knowledgeable. And he marveled at the words that they spoke. So he turned away from his intent of demolishing Al-Madinah and followed those two scholars and went into their religion. فقال خالد بن عبد العزة بن غزية بن عمرو بن عبد بن عوف بن غنم بن مالك بن النجار يفخر بعمر بن طلّة. The poet Khalid, the son of Abdul Uzza, the son of Ghaziyah, the son of Amr, the son of Abd, the son of Auf, the son of Ghunim, the son of Malik, the son of An-Najjar, while boasting of the bravery showed by Amr ibn Tallah and coming out to the king, said the following poetry. أصحى أم قد نهى ذكره أم قضى من لذة وطره أم تذكرت الشباب وما ذكرك الشباب أو عسره. Shall there be just a shout? Or has there been a prohibition of making mention of that time? Or have you seen fit that the matter be put to rest without any attention, not even one line? Or did you give any thought to the youth and what befell them? And did you bother to mention the young men at the time and what was done by them? إنها حرب رباعية مثلها آت الفتى عبرة. It was a war of the most difficult type and kind. Nothing like it before with what happened to the young man upon whom the blade did grind. واسألا عمران أو أسدا إذ أتت عدوا مع الزهراء. Let the people of Imran and Asad be asked, if you please, when the enemy came near the end of the night to spill blood and seize. فيلق فيها أبو كرب بن صبغ إبدانها ظفرة. Abu Karb was fit to carry out the task to its result, until counsel was sought from him in a way that would end the fault. ثم قالوا من أم بها ابني عوف أم النجرة. So then they said, who shall be followed as leader among men? The two sons of Auf, or maybe the Najjar. بل بني النجار إن لنا فيهم قتلى وإن تره. On the contrary, the house of An-Najjar came out to us. Among them were some dead, and it was a small number that came to us. مدها كالغبية نثرة فتلقتهم مسايفة. The amount of those present was like a splash of water, just under that of a deluge. Swordsmen with their weapons unsheathed came on the ready to move. فيهم عمرو بن طلّة ملا الإله قومه عمره. Among the people in the city was Amr, the son of Talha. Under the control of Allah, he was his people's guide during the standoff. سيد سام الملوك ومن رام عمرا لا يكن قدره. He was a man and leader, even among kings and those who came, such as the king who came to show himself. He had no power over the man. Amr was his name. وهذا الحي من الأنصار يزعمون أن إنما كان حنق تبعا على هذا الحي من يهود الذين كانوا من أظهرهم وإنما أراد هلاكهم ومنعوهم منه حتى انصرف عنهم ولذلك قال في شعره the tribe of the Ansar that mentioned this poetry claimed that Tubba the Last only had enmity to this tribe of Jews who were among them. He only wanted to destroy them, and they prevented him from that, so Tubba the Last might leave them alone. And it is due to this that the following poetry was recited. حَنَقَ عَلَى صِبْتَيْنِ حَلَّ يَثْرِبَ أَوْلَى لَهُمْ بِعِقَابِ يَوْمٍ مُفْسِدًا. He showed his enmity towards the two men as to lay waste to the land of Yathrib. It was more important for them to save themselves from the penalty of the day of strife that would have ended them. Close quote. So we see here that the Imam is quoting these sources in which the people, after the hostilities had abated, this poet bragged about how Amr ibn Talha was able to show bravery by marching out to the king into certain death where there was really feasibly no way to defeat Tubban Abi Karb and his army. But he still went out anyway. And that one of the results of this was it triggered those two rabbinical scholars to come out to them. And that originally, before this killing happened, the king had already had enmity towards two Jews that were in the city that he had an altercation with before this time. And this is why the poetry was then quoted with respect to the incidents, which this poetry was just a summation of everything that had happened. And some of it included some bragging about how they showed bravery, how he showed bravery and the greatness of his clan and his tribe. Abdul Malik ibn Hisham rahimahullah, he then goes on to say, quote, قال ابن هشام الشعر الذي فيه هذا البيت مصنوع فذلك الذي منعنا من إثباته. It should be remembered that it should be remembered when discussing Tubba'a that the poetry just recited above, he showed his enmity towards the two men as they laid waste to the land of Yathrib. It was more important for them to save themselves from the penalty of the day of strife that would have ended them. This particular couplet is actually a later addition, and that's why we refrained from affirming it and all the sources for it, because it is unaccounted for. Tubba'a would later go to Mecca, make tawaf around the Kaaba. تبع يذهب إلى المكة ويطوف بالكعبة. قال ابن إسحاق وكان تبع وقومه أصحاب أوثان يعبدونها فتوجه إلى مكة وهي طريقه إلى اليمن حتى إذا كان بين عسبان وأمج أتاه نفر من هذيل بن مدركة بن إلياس بن مضر بن نزار بن معد. So Tubba'a went to the Kaaba to make tawaf, or he went to Mecca to make tawaf around the Kaaba. Ibn Ishaq mentioned that Tubba'a and his people in their original affair had been worshippers of idols. The Tubba'a made his way to Mecca, and upon leaving from Al-Madinah city limits, they set out towards Mecca until they reached the place between Usfan and Amaj, and they were met by a delegation from the tribe of Hudhail, the son of Mudrika, who is the son of Ilyas, the son of Mudar, the son of Nizar, the son of Ma'an. فَقَالُوا لَهُ, they then spoke to the king by saying, أَيُّهَا الْمَلَكْ أَلَا نَدُلُّكَ على بيت مال دائر? Dear king, shall we not show you a house of long-standing wealth that kings before you had forgotten about or been mindful of in conquest? أغفلته الملوك قبلك فيه لؤلؤ والزبرجد والياقوت والذهب والفضة. قال بلى. قالوا بيت بمكة يعبد أهله ويصلون عنده وإنما أراد هذيليون هلاكه بذلك لما عرفوا من هلاكه من أراده من الملوك وبغى عنده. The king said, what is it? They said, this is a house that kings before you had forgotten and been unmindful of in conquest. It possesses pearls, jewels, rubies, gold, and silver. The king said, tell me more. To which they said, it is a house in Mecca, where the people worship it and pray in front of it. The people of Hudhail had only said that as they wanted the site to be destroyed, and they knew the kings in the past who had wanted to destroy it and sought to assist in the matter before had come to nothing. فلما أجمع لما قالوا أرسل إلى حبرين فسألهما عن ذلك فقال له ما أراد القوم إلا هلاكك وهلاك جندك ما نعلم بيتا لله اتخذه في الأرض لنفسه غيره ولئن فعلت ما دعوك إليه لتهلكن وليهلكن من معك جميعا. When the army gathered together according to what they said, word was sent to the two scholars of the Jews. They answered with, these people only want to destroy that house and your army. We don't know of any other sacred precinct in the world taken as a place of worship for him, Allah, except this very house. If you had tried to destroy it as they had called you to do, you and whoever was with you in your army would have been destroyed. قال فماذا تأمرانني أن أصنع إذا أنا قدمت إليه؟ قال تصنع عنده ما يصنع أهله تطوف به وتعزمه وتكرمه وتحلق رأسك عنده وتذل له حتى تخرج من عنده. قال فما يمنعكما أنتما من ذلك. The king asked the two scholars, then what would you suggest I do when I arrive? The two answered, you should do what you see the people doing there. Make your way around the sacred house with tawaf, show honor to it, respect it. Then shave your head at that time and be humble. Be humble while there until you leave from that location. He then asked the two scholars, so what's the reason why you forbid me from what I desire? Why would you tell me to do as you said? And what stops the two of you from doing just like what you told me to do? Close quote. So this is a very powerful point here because he's now come to Mecca after having sought with his army to destroy Al-Medina and being told to not do so by the two rabbinical scholars. So he relents. But he's also told to head to Mecca to make tawaf around the house. But while there, he's intercepted by some of the Hudhail clan. And the Hudhail clan attempt to incite him with his army to attack the house. Why? Well, because the Hudhail have enmity towards the Quraysh who are maintaining the house at that time. And they want to see if he'll be able to destroy the house. If not, he'll be destroyed like those before him. But if he does, then they'll be able to bring trade and other things in their direction. So when the king is incited by the Hudhail to carry out this action, he sends word to his two rabbinical scholars to ask them, because if they had knowledge of Al-Medina, then they must have knowledge of Mecca. Because they intimated a little bit of knowledge of Mecca when they had their conversation that there'll be a man, a prophet that immigrates from the sacred precincts of the Quraysh to this land. So he realizes that they must know something about this, to which they say not to try to do it because you're going to be destroyed along with your army. If you tried to destroy it as they had called you to, you and whoever was with you of your army would have been destroyed. So then the king responds with, so then what would you suggest that I do when I arrive? And they said, the thing that you should do is make tawaf around the house, honor it, respect it, shave your head, and be humble while you're there from that location. So then the king, who's now inquisitive, he's trying to understand more. He asks, well, why would you tell me to do this? What's the purpose behind it? And why would you tell me to do this when you don't do it? Why aren't you doing what you're telling me to do? And the response of the rabbinical authorities is very, very telling. The text reads, quote, قال أما والله إنه لبيت نبينا إبراهيم وإنه لكما أخبرناك ولكن أهله حالوا بيننا وبينه بالأوثان التي نصبوها حوله وبالدماء التي يهرقون عنده وهم نجس أهل الشرك أو كما قال له. They answered, by Allah, this is the very house of our father Ibrahim, and we inform you of the situation. The people there go amongst us. And it, soiling it with idols that they put around it, and with the blood that they have spilled in front of it. They are impure, a people of shirk, and we shall not go among them. فعرف نصحهما وصدق حديثهما فقرب النفر من هذيل فقطع أيديهم وأرجلهم ثم مضى حتى قدم مكة فطاف بالبيت ونحر عنده وحلق رأسه وأقام بمكة 6 أيام فيما يذكرون ينحر بها للناس ويطعم أهله ويسقيكم العسل. Tubba the Last understood and came to know the truth of what the rabbinical authorities were saying. So he went back to the delegation he'd met before, cut off their hands and feet from opposite sides and killed them. He traveled on until he neared the outskirts of Mecca. Upon arrival in the sacred precinct, he made tawaf around the house and the other things necessary in front of it. He then cut his hair after having done the slaughtering and was resident in Mecca for 6 days, making the sacrifice that the people did, feeding them, and giving them honey to drink. وأري في المنام أن يكسو البيت فكساه الخصب ثم أري أن يكسو أحسن من ذلك فكساه المعافر ثم أري أن يكسو أحسن من ذلك فكساه الملأ والوصائل فكان تبع فيما يزعمون أول من كسى البيت وأوصى به ولاته من جرهم وأمرهم بتطهيره وألا يقربوه دما ولا ميتة ولا ملاءات وهي المحايض وجعل ذلك بابه مفتاح. He later saw in a dream that he was clothed in the sacred house in a heavy brocade cloth. Then he was shown a dream that he was using a better cloth. Then after that, something better than that, and so forth. Tubba the Last then went on to put a beautiful embroidered brocade cloth on the Kaaba. Tubba the Last was the first one that clothed the Kaaba with the kiswa and advised later rulers after him from Jurhum to do so. He told them to purify the kiswa, not to bring it near to blood, anything found dead, or even the clothes of menstruating women. He also put a door on the Kaaba and made a key for it. Close quote. So this then shows you that there are a number of firsts that were done by Tubba. He had a kiswa put on it, which we see today. Now today's kiswa on the Kaaba is black. And the gold embroidering are ayat from the Quran. In the past, the kiswa was mukhattata. It had stripes on it, and it was often blue or other colors, and it was used to cover over the Kaaba in totality, as we see today. But he was the first one to put a kiswa on the Kaaba and to honor the Kaaba because of its rank. And he then told the later leaders after him from the Jurhum to do so. And he told them to purify the kiswa. So he meant for them to keep not just the Kaaba, but the kiswa itself, to keep it clean, to not bring it near to any blood. And anything found dead. So any animal that died of itself, make sure that it goes nowhere near it. Even the clothes of menstruating women. And then he also puts a door on the Kaaba and makes a key for it. Now today we see double doors on the Kaaba, but he just put one single door on the Kaaba, and this is what he did as an honor to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Kaaba that he showed blessings towards. What we will do is we'll pause here, inshallah, and when we next come together, we will discuss further what happened with Tubban Abu Karb, known as Tubba the Last, what his other affairs were, the poetry that was said about him by people of his time, and we'll also, inshallah, go into the origin of Judaism in Yemen. So how did the people of Yemen become Jews, and what led to their entrance into Judaism. So Jews were there before, but they were a small pocket of society. But how did Yemen become a Jewish stronghold at one point to where their numbers increased exponentially? What happened? And what was the end result of what led to that? And this is what we're going to start to discuss, inshallah, in our next class. We've already laid some of the groundwork in discussing the Jews of the first and second exile and how they arrived there, the different classes of the children of Israel. So you have the Rabbonim, the Tanaim, and the Soferim, right? So you have the rabbis, the leaders and scholars who have the most knowledge, the Tanaim, which are your scholars of the Talmud and the Midrashim and other affairs, and then your Soferim, which are your scribes who write out the Torah scrolls, they write out the scrolls for the books. They're the people in charge of safeguarding those affairs. So we'll probably wind up having to discuss this in greater length, inshallah, our next class, and then also go into the origin of Judaism, what that meant, the Jews coming in there, how were the Jews able to bring people to convert to their religion, when Judaism, from the first time that word was used, which is the year 200 BC. So the religion we know was Judaism, this collected religion from the year 200 BC. It doesn't have a missionary tradition of sending out missionaries to convert people. So if it doesn't have a missionary tradition, how were they able to then lead people in Yemen to enter Judaism in droves? How did this happen? And what is the end result? So inshallah, please join us for our next class where we try to bring this to you, and we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses us in our endeavors in you. And we say, Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk innahu ghafurur rahim ya arhamir rahimin wa la ilaha illa Allah wassalamu alaykum.